Hello, 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 and welcome to Relationship Rhetoric. I'm your host, unapologetically Angela. Thank you so much for joining me on this lovely Thursday. I, as always, am so excited about my guest, but the excitement with this particular guest is a little different because we have such a history. And the fact that we have such a history, I have really witnessed her in different stages of her life. But this last stage of her life is the one to me that is um, the most miraculous because, we're always told um, we're so strong as women and we're resilient, and then we end up being bitter or hard or things of that nature. But this go round with Fran, she has definitely tapped into her feminine energy and she has definitely used that energy to be creative. She's used that creative energy to be more loving, more compassionate, not just with the people around her, but with herself. And it shows in the steps that she's taking through her evolution. So I just thought it was fantastic. I know most of us are celebrating tomorrow, whatever. So, what better way to kick it off than somebody who knows food personally? Now, we may not talk about food a lot, but the soul of this woman is definitely about making you feel full, not just with food, but just with her energy. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I bring to the stage my friend, my girl, Fran Mosley. Hey, girl.
Hey girl, hey.
Looking fabulous as always. It
Thank
is fantastic to
you.
see you. Let me see if I need to change that. Oh, look at that, girl. That's much better. Look at us. Okay.
hmm That's good, girl.
So as I was sitting and thinking, because you and I have talked before, but this particular interview is just to actually recap and think back on things that have happened to you in the last
Mm-hmm.
5 years and the amazing accomplishments that you've accomplished when most people would have probably drowned by now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's
Woo.
exciting for me. That's exciting for me. So take us back. Take us back as far as you can when the shift happened in your life.
Oh wow, I can tell you it's been a ride, okay? And it has been a ride full of different changes and realizations and coming to yourself and self-awareness, right? So let's just talk about 5, 6 years ago. Let's start there, right? We talked about this 6 years ago. I just got divorced. No, I'm 48 now. So 7 years ago, I had just got divorced. And I got married at 21. I got divorced at 41 after 20 years
I didn't
with
know.
4 boys, a couple of restaurants, a couple of houses, several cars. Like, I have been living the life, right? And all of a sudden, everything comes to a screeching halt. It's divorce and it's grief and it's figuring out what this transition looks like. And it's kind of some excitement too, I'll tell you, because I got married at 21. So the everything that I knew about my life was being married, having children, being a wife, a mother, a daughter, a auntie, a chef, you name it. I tried to do it, do it all. And I had done it in the marriage and I had the security and safety to be able to do it to a point. But I encountered some conflict. I encountered some negative things that I never even imagined, right? And so during that transition, I had to learn who Fran was. And I remember having a friend saying, we don't want you to be another celebrity couple that divorced, right? We need you to come out and say who Chef Fran is. She's a wife, she's a mother, she loves fashion. So it was about rebranding myself. So I had to go through this transitional phase where I had to figure out, now, who am I?
Mhm.
If you take away the mama, you take away the wife, you take away the daughter of a preacher, several preachers, like, who is this girl? What is, when you take her representative off, who
Mm.
is she? Like, do you know the goofy part of me? Do you know the part of me that, um, I love people, I love to serve people, I love to cook, I love to, like, I just had to go through a soul search of who am I, to try to figure out where I would be going through this transition. So that was the hardest part, because when we start talking about figuring out who you are, you have now started, you've built a life around your family, or I'll say I built a life around my family. I built a life around cooking and chefing and trying to build restaurants and go after my dreams. And okay, now I don't have any of this. Who am I?
Mm.
So I had to go back and do some soul searching and figure out who I was. Like, I'm an educated, phenomenal woman, and I love to dance. I love to sing. I love fashion. I love food. I love faith. I love my family. But how do I do this by myself?
Mm.
Because that's how I felt. I felt like I was by myself. I felt like I lost everything in that part. So you go through the grieving stage, and then you go through, okay, well, where we finna go from here? So I'll tell you, at 41, I'm like, oh, this is the new 21 with a healthy salary, right? I gotta find some fun in this, because I ain't gonna be able to do it if I can't find a way to have fun with doing it or express my love while doing it, because ultimately and overall, I just love people. I love love. And my
Mhm.
mother taught me, you know, love is not manipulation, love is not transactional. And I had to decide that even though I've experienced these situations that were not, um they were not happy endings, they didn't feel good, even though I experienced these situations, how do I still be love and give love and not close myself off to love because I'm experiencing divorce? All right, well, fast forward, I moved to a place I always wanted to move. I moved downtown, and oh my God, life opened up, right? Oh God, I'm downtown. I'm having fun. I'm outside. Every time anybody call me, what you doing outside? But I can tell you that's where a lot of my inspiration came from, right? I started to rebuild, because going through the divorce, I was like, I had to shut the restaurant down, go back to work. And I feel like I don't want to cook no more. The only way I could imagine it was with my family, because I built my cooking brand around my family. So I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, no, I'm gonna go back to corporate and get over here and sit in this little silo and earn my money and just, have fun and do what I want to do. So I get downtown, and I didn't realize how much inspiration I got from being there, because shortly after we go through COVID, right? And so all of the residents downtown, we don't have anything to do, right? So we started dinner parties where we would go to each other's apartment in that specific apartment complex. And literally, you could 5 days a week be at somebody different apartment, and we're having a dinner party. Like, and when I say dinner party, I'm like, we dressing up. We we are literally going to a dinner party, bringing back Black excellence and all of that. And I didn't realize at that time, because I was just having fun, I didn't realize that God had really positioned me to get my inspiration back. He knew
Mm,
that I needed that pouring. He knew I needed it. And so during that time, the people that I met, the dinner parties that I went to, the dinner parties that I cooked for, the when we shut down Main Street for a party, right? I was like, oh, I can still do this. Right? I don't have to have this whole team or conglomerate of people around me. Like God purposed me for this, and I can continue to move forward. So after moving downtown, I got that inspiration. And then, I still in my mind was like, nah, I'm gonna keep my little comfy job. And I'm not gonna do I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm gonna log off and go outside and continue to have fun. So that's kind of where it started at. And then the maturation of it is you start to see things that mean a little bit more to you, that have a little bit more value for you. So one of the reasons I moved from downtown is I'm thinking about, oh, my sons just had girls.
mm.
Now I have these granddaughters, and I want my granddaughters to have somewhere to run outside in the yard. Like summertime, I'm thinking about summertime and oh my God, now I'm a grandparent and I need space for my family to be able to come and hang out. So then that maturation moved me to other areas of Memphis, but that's where it started at, like really kind of learning myself and learn and getting inspiration from the people around me. And I say this all the time, people need people.
That's right.
And when we become reclusive, when we're going through our transitions, because first of all, we feel like we on the island by ourselves and nobody has ever gone through this, and it's just us. And Lord, why me? Why
Mhm.
me? Why I gotta go through all of this? But then you find out that there are people who have done it, wrote a book about it, got a t-shirt, a coffee mug, and you need to experience or you need to get out and be around people who have had those experiences because they provide you some level of influence. Um, so after that, the maturation, we moved to several different areas of Memphis. And then I had to start thinking about here's another transition, right? So the restaurant has been closed for 5 years at this point. And this I haven't talked about because, first of all, I hurt my feelings. Secondly, I was embarrassed about it, right?
Yeah.
So I get this call, like, so let me tell you, I curated my lifestyle to everything that I wanted, everything that I've always wanted. So I had a housekeeper. I was living downtown. Oh, I was having a good time, right? And so I get this call one Wednesday because the housekeeper was there every Wednesday, and I love when she was there. We had really become friends, and we would spend time together while she was cleaning and that kind of thing. I would go in there and cook, and I get this call from my son. He's like, "Mom, did you know it was a warrant for your arrest?" And
Mm.
I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Christian, quit playing with me. Don't play with me." Don't play with me. Don't call me with this playing with me because I'm in the middle of a whole soul session, right? And he's like, "No, ma, I had a friend that called me and asked me, is your mama name Fran Mosley? We got a warrant for her." I'm like, "What? Where does this come from?" Well, to make a long story longer, I figured out, well, after calling an attorney, I figured out my taxes on HM Lounge had not been paid appropriately. And there was a secret indictment that was out there. But what it said was theft of property. I was like, I haven't stolen anything. Like, what are we talking about? Well, this is what the Department of Revenue did. They got a secret indictment, um, and the secret indictment was for tax fraud, but they called it theft of property. So I end up going to court over and over and over again over the course of probably about a year or so, and I'm fighting this. I'm like, no, I didn't have any intention on defrauding the state of Tennessee and Department of Revenue. I just didn't know what I was doing. And I had a tax person who, had told me several different things, and I won't even go into all that because I don't want to expose these people. But I'll tell you, the tax person told me, oh, you don't have to file for your business taxes for 2 years before they'll do an audit and that kind of thing. And I knew I needed to do something. I just wasn't educated. I was ignorant on what I needed to do. So when I'm filing my taxes, I'm just taking her all of these receipts over here and do my taxes so I can make sure I stay in compliance. Well, that was done wrong. As a result of that, most of the charges were dismissed, but still I got a charge for the tax fraud, and then ended up having to go through diversion. What? That's a felony. I've never been arrested for anything. I've never been in trouble for anything. Like, what in the world? I'm 45, 46 years old. Like, what in the world is happening here?
Mm-hmm.
And News Channel 5 thought that it was a story. So they posted my picture all over the news. Everybody saw it, but I will say I appreciate Memphis because when they love you, they love you. So ain't nobody said nothing about it, but they did inbox me and comment saying, hey, are you okay? What's going on? So I really appreciate that. But it put me in a position where now I'm still going to court. It also put me in position that nice little cushiony job that I had in corporate, I lost that job because when my face was on the news and that went to HR, they're like, you can't be in leadership and have this going on where you got to manage people as a people leader. How you gonna respond to them and they've seen you on the news, right? So that was very traumatic for me. And it still hurt my feelings when it comes to that, because I feel like all y'all had to do was pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, you about to be in trouble. You need to set up some payment arrangements. But instead, systemically, you chose to criminalize me for something that I did not know. Now, I will say, because they understood that I didn't know, then I ain't go to jail. Right? I wasn't booked on tax fraud and had to serve 2 to 6 years. I ended up going on diversion, and it's a hard thing to be classified with criminals when you have not, or at least intentionally do anything wrong. What I learned though is I had to overcome that, because where I'm getting ready to go, that had to be out the way for me to be able to be successful where I'm going. So,
okay, hold on one second. Before you do that, I have a question.
Sure.
You said secret indictment.
Mm-hmm.
So this means this was something that was initiated by the IRS?
It was initiated by the Department of Revenue.
Okay.
And I had again, the restaurant had been closed for 5 years.
Right.
I had no idea about any of this. The only thing I knew was when my son called me, I thought he was playing. And I'll be honest with you, when they said theft of property, I'm still divorced. I'm like, what my ex-husband?
Understood.
Right? I'm like, there's some BS. What's going on? So yeah, it was a secret indictment, and the state has they have permission to do that, especially if they feel like, oh, well, you got this, you've earned this amount of money, you could be a flight risk, so we're not gonna tell you about it. We just gonna go ahead and get that, and then next thing you know, you being picked up. Well, fortunately, I didn't get picked up. I called my attorney, and he said, well, here's what you got to do. You got to go in and turn yourself in. Go at 10 o'clock PM after the shift changes. You will be out in the morning by 6 o'clock. That way you won't miss any work or anything like that. So Everything went the way he said. I was out in time to be at work, but Channel 5 News thought it was a viable story. So I'm at work and my senior manager calls and said, "Hey, you okay? I just saw this on the news. I'm not going to say anything, but this, I need to know what's going on." Well, eventually she did say something, and that's a whole other, I want to windmill fight somebody about. But yeah, that's what they did. They got a secret indictment as if I was really a criminal and really trying to evade the state. Again, the restaurant did not close because we had money issues. I closed the restaurant during the divorce so I wouldn't have to fight over money. Memphis supported HM Lounge, and we were quite successful by just selling food. I never sold a beverage, and we were successful. The start of Memphis Black Restaurant Week was in the restaurant, and that brought us huge amounts of revenue to be able to operate. So I didn't have a problem in reference to closing because there was an issue with being able to sustain and maintain the business. I did it because I was advised by my attorney to close so I wouldn't have to fight over continual revenue that was coming in.
Okay.
So 5 years later, when this came down, I was like, what are we talking about here? Like, how y'all able to do that? Like, so I'm still mad about it. I will tell you, I'm still mad about it. But it definitely put me in a position where I had no other choice but to seek God and be like, okay, God, what would you have me do? Because this is where we at right now. And I don't know how I'm finna pay my bills. I don't know what's finna happen. I I, I just didn't know. So yes, secret indictments do happen, and you've seen them. You've seen other restaurants, or restaurateurs whose name have been over the news for the same thing at this point. Um, but I think that there was a systemic approach to breaking down successful Black businesses, if I want to be honest about it. Once you achieve some level of success, then they're looking and they're coming. Like, who's ever heard of you auditing a restaurant in a year or two, right? But we had so much success at that point. I can tell you, like, there are other restaurants that have been in business for 40 years and they were not of our culture, that came after me when I started doing brunch and unlimited mimosas. Like, we had one popular restaurant that's on Poplar that everybody go to for Sunday brunch. Um, that came after me and sent their people after me because we were experiencing so much success. We had, we were in magazines, we were in newspaper, we were on television, we were everywhere. So when you experience that level of success so quickly, then folks want to know what you're doing, and you got to be doing something wrong. But I'm very grateful because it gave me a bird's eye view into, here's the level of success that you can achieve in a short amount of time, and you can go further than that. You just need to stay focused on your purpose. And I feel like a lot of it, if I have to think about self-awareness, I had to go back and check myself. I was like, no, you got in your ego. You thought you was doing this on your own. And I did it. I was doing it. I did it. Nah, baby. No, it wasn't of your own strength. And so a lot of times we have to sit back and really do some self-analysis, to make ourselves more self-aware of the behaviors that we're exhibiting, because that's where your healing starts. But I'm gonna stop right there so it allow you to
So
ask a question.
I do have another question. So in the midst of this, because this is a lot,
Yeah.
divorce, we've gotten, where we need to be. 5 years later, we've kind of figured out a new vibe for ourselves. And then this happens.
All in a matter of 3 days.
Oh, so depression.
Uh,
Did you, I mean,
I definitely experienced depression.
okay.
Um, and it was hard. It was really hard. Um, it was really hard. It was really hard. But I had my mom said this to me. I'm sorry. Let me get myself together. Um, my mom said to me, if you can't, she said, I'm gonna pray for you while you can't pray for yourself.
Oh, yeah,
And that helped me.
yeah.
That changed everything. That changed because I was really like, I don't know what to do anymore. I didn't
Hmm.
know what to do. But my mom saw me going through it and she checked on me all the time. And she heard that depression. She heard, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just I'm just here, just trying to figure things out. And she said, because I was mad at everybody. I was mad at God. I was mad at my ex-husband. I was
Hmm.
mad at HM Lounge. I was mad at the state of Tennessee. I was mad at my friends that I felt like left me during that time.
Mm.
I was mad at my job. I was mad because they actually put me on suspension without pay. And I had to quit to get my 401k so I could at least pay my bills out. Because to me, it was essential. Like, go ahead and pay off the bills that you can pay off so you don't have to, you won't be under so much stress trying to figure out how you're going to make life work. Um, so, anyways, yeah, that was a hard time. In that moment though, during that time, like mama said, I'm gonna pray for you while you can't pray for yourself because I didn't have it. I just didn't have it. During that time though, I had a friend that came over and he's like, oh, you need to watch Chef's Table. And so I'm just trying to find things for motivation so I don't literally go crazy, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I remember like at 3 o'clock in the morning one day, because I'm praying every day, like, God, I'm tired of worrying about money. I'm tired of worrying about how I'm paying these bills. Like, what am I gonna do? It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I heard just as audibly as you and I are sitting here talking, God say to me, you need to go back to school. Because where you getting ready to go, you're gonna need those credentials to take with you. So I went back to school because I needed to have something to fill up that time. So I went back to school for culinary management. I already had skills. I already had experience in working in the industry. I'd taken the skills part, but I it was like I knew I needed to go back and get those credentials because in a sea of other people doing the same things as you, what makes you different,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
So I'm like, okay, I gotta go get this culinary management degree because that's gonna give me a hand up. It's gonna give me a step forward in reference to where I want to go. And so that was a life changing decision that I made for myself. It was so good to get back in the classroom. It was so good to get around well traveled chefs that had all of these different experiences that were not of my culture. So they had different takes on,
Hmm.
restaurant and just food business in general. So I learned I have learned so much in that process. In fact, I graduate with my culinary management degree on July 25th. Right? I'm trying not to cry and talk to you, but all this stuff is
Let it,
so
let it,
emotional.
let
And
it,
I didn't
let it.
listen. I took a shot before we got out here because I was
You were about to tell me.
I was trying to calm myself. But anytime I start talking from the heart, of course it comes out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I graduate on July 25th with my culinary management degree. And so I'm super excited about that. It's so exciting. Like that part of it is happy tears. I'm super excited about being able to put just accomplishing, right? Because I was in a depressed state and I just didn't know. And so I did that consistently because it gave me so much um positive influence. It
Mm-hmm.
gave me so I learned what let me tell you something. I didn't know what I was doing at HM Lounge. God just helped me be successful. Cause what I learned in culinary management, I was like, okay, I did have some things like, okay, you got that right. But I was like, okay, you missed all of these steps.
Mm.
So you needed to get back in here so you can the next time you build that business, you are fully equipped to go and be successful and sustain that business. So it was the best thing that happened to me. And I took my son with me. I was like, come on, go to school with me. And
Oh.
so because that was the thing too, is like, take Christian with you. He cooking, he needs to have this education. So um part of the culinary management class is you have to go back through the skills part. So Christian took the skills and we were in there. Boy, we were competing. Oh, we competed, but it was so fun going to school with him. And we make a joke about it because Christian was the child that ensured that I stayed in touch with the administration at his school. So I literally went to school with him in high school some days because I was like, see, you in here cutting up. Let me come and see what you're doing. But it was really good to go back to school with him and we bonded over that. And he graduated from, we had our capstone and he graduated and I continued on. I'm like, nah, I gotta move forward. So I'm super excited about that.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
I'm gonna try to stop crying.
Listen, that's what this is for. People, listen, there are people that need to hear this and be okay. Because they
Yeah,
always see the strong friend, the friend that's always trying to help other people, but to know that you're human,
yeah,
it's real.
yeah.
So, in the midst of all of this, how did we end up remarried? Let's get there.
Okay, I'm gonna try to tell this story without crying. Woo, girl, you taking me. Okay, so during this time, I'm trying to cater and go to school because I got to do something, right? So I'm like, okay, I got to jump back in and start back catering. My truck started just going crazy, right? My truck, no, let me back up. That's not what happened. Them little boys set me up. I'm gonna tell you, them little boys that I birthed, they set me up. They was doing their little stuff in the background, but we had to have several family meetings, and the boys wanted us to, okay, even though y'all not together, we still need to have a family dinner once a month because we miss our parents and kind of thing. Because me and Chan was, baby, we was out here getting our life when our kids was grown. We was outside getting our life. You hear me? And so the kids started incorporating, oh, let's at least have Sunday dinner once a month. So we had to see each other then. We had to swallow our pride and be like, okay, for the sake of the kids and the grandkids, let's have our family time. So then my truck started acting up, and my second son is calling me, and he like, okay, well, you need to do this, okay, and take it to this mechanic shop. And I know, what I hear from him,
This
I
champ.
know I'm hearing from Champ. I know it's Champ talking to me, but he's feeding it to the boys because he know I ain't talking to him. Right. And so one day it was Chris Lund's birthday, and his wife, his she was his girlfriend at the time. His wife now called and was like, "Hey, I'm having Chris Lund a surprise dinner." He said he would really like to have dinner with both of his parents there. And so I'm just calling you to get your permission before I invite Pops, to see if you would be okay in that environment. I'm like, yeah, it's for Chris Lund. I don't have to, I'm not going at this point. My healing has started. Um, I was well beyond. I had so much stuff happen, baby. I didn't have anything left. I had plenty of FTS, if you know what that means. I had nothing left to be trying to fight about or anything like that. I'm like, baby, I done been through hell and high water. I'm not finna fight with nobody about anything. So, um, we go to the dinner, and so I'm getting ready to pay for my food. This is it. We go to Porch and Parlor for his birthday, and I'm getting ready to pay for my food. And then Champ takes my card out after because everybody getting ready to pay and give it to the waitress. So he takes my card out and put it back on the table next to me and take my check and pay for my dinner. So okay, all right, cool. I'm gonna let you flex in front of the boys or whatever. Do your thing. Um, and I get ready to walk out. So I'm trying to make a beeline out of there, right? I'm trying to make a beeline because I don't want no interaction. I'm making a beeline out. I get to the front door to walk out. He on my heels. And I'm walking. I'm still walking briskly, trying to get to my car. And he's behind me. And I turn around and look, and he's like, I said, you don't have to walk me to my car, friend. I'm just trying to make sure you get to your car safe. So I let him have it. Got to my car. He went on back to his car. Maybe 4 hours later, I get this text message from him that says, "Your hair is pretty." I mean, it's the simplest stuff like your hair pretty. Well, ain't nobody told me my hair was pretty in a while or
Hmm.
something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My hair pretty. And I waited about a whole day, and I texted him back and said thanks. But by this time, my son is still calling me to get my car fixed. My car is getting fixed without my money. I'm just taking it to the shop. It's getting done. It's because I need my truck to be able to cater, and all these things are happening. And one day he picks up the phone and calls because something is going on with the truck. And he says, God told me I'm supposed to take care of you.
Who is this?
Champ. So he says, God told me I'm supposed to take care of you. My ego, my friend ego. As you should.
Mm.
I'm the mother of your four sons. As you should take care of you, right? And he's like, Fran, no, I really been praying and going through my healing process. God told me to take care of you, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be obedient to God. And that started the conversation. So that conversation started, and if you know anything about Champ, um, I don't know if you get into zodiacs or anybody does get into zodiac. He a Scorpio, And you know them Scorpios, they're very relentless when they focus on something. They're very persistent. Um, and so that started the conversation. Every day there was a phone call just to check. Hey, how are you doing? How was your day today? Do you need anything? Like, what's going on with you? Hey, and he called me one day and he's like, now mind you, this is after my friends have called and like, look, girl, I'm gonna pay your rent, so you don't have to worry about this. Look, what do you need? Do you need some food? What you need? What's going on? And he calls me one day and he's like, you need a break. You need a break. I'm gonna take you out of town. So of course I'm like, please take me away from all of this craziness. Please let me escape. However, I was still very hesitant, but I still was like, I need this escape. And that escape turned into us not going anywhere, us sitting on the balcony every night, having drinks and just talking and just getting out what we needed to get out with each other. And one thing he told me about the divorce that I really had, that really permeated with me, that I really had to take a hard look at, is he felt like there was nothing special about him because I loved everybody the same. I loved everybody hard. And so if they was my friends and I loved them, it didn't matter. I was going to give to them. And he didn't feel anything. He didn't feel like I was doing anything different for him. And I'm like, look, I'm at the house with you. I had your babies. He was like, no, friend. The way you love me, I'm not talking about intimacy. I'm talking about the way you love me is how you love everybody else. So there was nothing different. If your friend called and said she needed some groceries, you was going to go to the grocery store and buy them. Like, I remember we had a good argument because I let one of my friends use my brand new truck to take her son to college. And he was like, I would never let you. But she didn't have any other way, and the baby needed to get to college. So to me, if I had the resource, you could do it. But that was his thing that really permeated with me, that made me sit back and think about, okay, when I do this again, I need to ensure that my husband feels like there is a part of me that he gets that everybody else does not have access to.
Mm, 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 mm.
And so I learned that on that balcony, and I learned a couple of other things that just made me start thinking about who I was as a wife, what I could have done differently, and what would I commit to doing differently. Because, for example, I have what most people don't understand about my personality is I can go from 0 to 1,000 in 0.1 seconds, right? Um, and that fiery personality has been a benefit to me from a business standpoint. But when it comes to my husband, I need to be a little bit more pink and
Mm.
a little bit softer when it came to him. And he'll tell you, he's like, I don't like Chef Fran. I love Franny, but I do not like, I don't fool with Chef Fran. Chef Fran, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get that equipment out to the truck, but outside of that, I am not dealing with Chef Fran. And that's because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to the business. And so any little thing is like, right? It's my horns are up, the steam is coming out of my ears, like, we got chop, we got to get this right, because my name is on the line and I want to protect my reputation. But I had to learn that in protecting my reputation, I could not ruin my family because I was more concerned about what other people think.
Mm, mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Right? So I
mm-hmm.
can't, abuse my husband at home when I'm trying to get ready for a catering gig to go out here and, hey baby, hey sugar, hey, oh I love you so much, thank you. I hope you enjoyed everything. And you out here I'm out here serving and making people feel warm and fuzzy. And I just left him at the house ready to fight because I'm acting up because you why you turn that pan that way? It's gonna fall, and now my dessert's gonna be messed up by the time I get there, kind of thing. So that was a learning step for me.
Okay.
So getting to the marriage, so we after the conversations, after the trip, we were locked in after that. And so our original anniversary is July 11th. So we spent July 11th kind of talking about and reminiscing our 20 years. And July 12th, he asked me to marry him again. And of course, I accepted. Um, but I had to learn it's all about forgiveness. We now live in a council culture where everybody feels like, you did me wrong. I'm not going to talk to you no more. And we not friends. I'm moving on to the next person. Well, what has happened in society by doing it? Everybody just spending a couple of months with each other and moving on to the next. There's no conflict resolution. There is no reconciliation. People don't feel like that people can be redeemed. I am not the same woman I was 6 years ago, 7 years
Right.
ago. I'm not the same woman I was a year ago. Hell, I'm going through menopause now. I am not the same woman I was a year ago. I ain't the same woman I was 6 months ago.
That's right.
Right? We're
That's right.
constantly evolving. And so there's redemption in that. If you hold me to who I was 7 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that's a totally different woman than who you're looking at today. And I had to consider that about him.
Mm-hmm.
Is it easy? So let's talk about practically what forgiveness looks like to your spouse who you got some muddy water under that bridge. You mad at them. And we can't make it work to the point that we got a divorce. Practically, what does that look like? That looks like listening to the other person, even if you don't agree, even if you feel it in your chest and you kind of warm about it. Even if compassion comes from putting yourself in the other person's
That's
shoes
right.
and trying to feel the way
That's right.
that they feel about it, right? And so that's taking away your ego. That's taking away everybody wants to give their clarity and defend themselves. And here's what I was thinking. But there's value and understanding when somebody else says, this is how you made me feel. Like, damn, I ain't even know that. I'm
That's right.
sorry.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And so once you get to a point where it's like, I ain't even know that. Damn, if I had felt like that, I would feel like you did too. So
Mm-hmm.
now you got some compassion. Now you understand that their reactive behavior to something that you did was because you caused it. And
Mm-hmm.
vice versa, right? Share yourself. I said the other day, vulnerability is not the opposite of strength.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
not the opposite of strength. It takes courage to be vulnerable. It
Mm-hmm.
takes courage to say your truth, especially to the person that you feel like hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we
Yeah.
want to hold on to, now you did this to me, and you did this, and you made me feel like this, and you didn't do this, and you did. But you see them fingers that's pointing back at you.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Right? And that's where the healing came. Is I think we had been away from each other so long. We both dated other people. um I experienced what it was like not having a husband, like simple stuff like, man, I gotta take this garbage down to the street. You know, and I'm just saying that's simple stuff. The bigger picture of it was companionship,
Mm-hmm.
having my person next to me that I
Mm-hmm.
could talk to about how I was feeling, laughing, and I mean just having somebody to cook dinner for.
Mm-hmm.
That's a love language for me, so I enjoy cooking for him. So it was things like that, or things where, I'm with the boys and we're spending separate time with our children, and
Yeah.
we raised a family for 20 years, right? And
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, what's the smart thing for you to do? So I'm in the shower having my meditation time, and God was like, you need to reconcile your family. And after that, it was we were locked in from there. It was gone go. Now I didn't share with anybody. I was like, nah, I'm finna pull it. It's a Ray, because I don't want none of his girls to come out the woodworks. I don't want none of these men that I talk to come out the woodworks. I need time to be able to have time with my husband without any distractions. In fact, I didn't talk to anybody. Even my mama will tell you I stopped talking to her for probably a month, because I didn't want the noise of anybody else's opinions to distract me from what I knew my assignment was, what
That's
I
right.
knew God had told me, and what I was feeling. And what I was feeling is, I'm a wife, number one. Um, that's my husband. Ain't nobody else gonna deal with either one of us. Not for real, not full time. They like the vibe that they get every now and again. They like what we have to offer. Every so often I'll see you on Friday. Then nobody wanted that full time responsibility, right? Because it's a
Right.
responsibility. Um, and so I just had to make that decision. Like, I don't care how hard it's gonna be, I'm gonna do the work.
Period.
And so that's how I do time two was
Yeah.
born.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. I love that. And that's a wonderful way to end. No matter what, you were willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
You were willing
In,
to put in the work.
in any healing situation, you got to do the work. It don't
That's right.
just happen. It
That's
does
right.
not just happen. I don't care if you healing from the grief of a friendship, if you healing from the grief of losing a job, if you
Mm-hmm.
healing from the grief of losing a spouse, a parent. You got to do the work. You got to get rid of the stuff. And I'll say this last: forgiveness does not always mean you forget.
That's right.
Forgiveness means, hold on, I believe this Miss Mosley at the door. 1 second. I didn't know the door was like that. I'm sorry. Come on in here. Come on, right quick. Come on. He got out work early.
Oh,
Come on in here, babe. Before we end, we got 7 minutes. Can you gotta go around that way or sit on this side. Um, so what I was getting ready to say is forgiveness does not mean that you forget all the time. Forgiveness means I may remember, but I'm not gonna use that against you.
that's right.
I'm not gonna bring it up every time I get mad or there's a trigger or something like that. Can you see him? Here you go.
Keep blinking because you got that background.
Oh, there
Hey,
you
Tim.
go. Hey. We were just talking about you. We just had about 15 minutes about you, talking about our reconciliation. So you got like 1 or 2 minutes to tell Angela about I do times two and what that meant for you. What was the reconciliation for you?
But here, champ, this is really what I want to hear, because again, there are a lot of men that have separated from their wives, divorced from their wives, and really deep down in their hearts want to reconcile, want to renew their relationship. But we talked a lot about ego. So, what was your guiding force to get to a point where you were like, I want my wife back, I want my family back?
Hmm. I would have to say that I always felt that way.
Hmm.
I think that's something that was in me, and I can agree with the other guys, with the percentages of the other guys, where it was egotistical for me as well, to where I didn't express myself um, up front. Um, but it got to a point to where I know what's best for me,
Hmm.
and I know what's best for the family, and I know what's best for our legacy, um,
Hmm.
to set the example for our grandchildren, our children, and so on down that line. We got to stop it somewhere. We see so much, we hear about so much divorce, 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 divorce. And like I mentioned before, I said we give up on each other so fast.
Hmm.
But we got that car in the garage that's been sitting there 10 years we've been working on. We got that dress in the closet that we keep saying we gonna fit back in for the last 20 years. But as soon as our spouses do something wrong, we give up. And now we value things more than we do people. So when you really take a look at it and you really just think about it, it's like, why did I give up? What was not there for me to continue to fight for?
Hmm.
So so you put your ego down. You put your ego to a side and you realize what's best for me. And I think sometimes when we get into that, we got to realize that before you know what's best for you, you have to know you.
Hmm.
So you're going to have to get into knowing yourself first before you can even be a benefit to anybody else.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
once you know the value of yourself and what you bring to the table, now you can look forward and say, you know what? Now I could have done this. Now I should have done this. Sometimes we focus on what that person did, what that person could have done. No, it's not about that. What could
I
I
swear
have
he was
done?
not here when I said this.
You said this. It's what I could have done to make things better. What why didn't I continue to fight for my marriage? So that's what I think, and that's where the ego comes in. A lot of people don't, and we speak of men. A lot of men don't put forth the effort to continue to fight, but we'll fight for anything else. We'll fight for our community. We'll
Hmm.
fight for everything else. We'll fight for people we don't know. We'll fight for causes. But our wife, we give up on.
Hmm.
Our children, we give up on. Because when you give up on the wife, you're giving up on more than just the wife.
That's right. That's right.
Because it's easy to be a dad that just come by and drop gifts over. But are you a present dad? Are you a present dad? You know, so you have to know what you are. Are you present or you just bringing presents?
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's my take on
Champ, what a way to end the interview. My God.
it.
And she is so right. You have no idea. When you go back and watch this, everything that you touched on, she talked about knowing
Mm,
herself, figuring out who she was, what role did she play in where you ended up, and so forth and so on. So it's just so beautiful to hear, and it is obvious the work that you all have done individually. Again, we have history, so to see this and to feel this is
right.
fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Fantastic.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it feels good. Um,
Yes.
and like I said, when you go in the right direction, there's many blessings along the way.
Mm,
So we have to continue to. It's going to be some work. It's going to be some work. But we work on everything else.
mm,
We're going to work on our body. We're going to work on our hair. We're going to work on our car. We're going to work on our yard. Why not work on your relationship?
mm, 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 mm.
Relationship rhetoric.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I am. 100% toes down, supportive of the work that you have done. I love that you all are back together. Your story is one that people don't want to talk about. People always have their opinion about, but seeing you all and hearing you all together, it's worth it. It's worth it. And I love y'all. I really do. I love what you
I love
represent.
you
We love you
too.
as well. We
I
love
love
you.
what you represent to our community.
Yes.
So you're setting a wonderful example. And hey, you're in my prayers.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
indeed.
You're in
Thank
my
you.
Fran has a surprise. I can't talk to y'all about the surprise. So just keep listening, people. The surprise is coming shortly after graduation. So keep
It
that in your
is.
mind. Follow the lady. She got more stories to tell.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, yeah. I
You
love
are
y'all. Y'all
guiding
have a
force.
yeah,
For sure.
hey,
All
y'all have a wonderful night.
right, love.
And I'll talk to
Bye.
y'all soon.
Bye bye.
All right.
Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. I wasn't even expecting Champ to be able to be available for the interview. But again, to me, there is just a thing this summer, and I'm so grateful to be doing this series because the men are showing up. The men are speaking up. Champ made a very valid point. We work on everything. We will work out. We will commit to their workout schedule. We will commit to holding on to that car that's broke down and we spend so much money in this, that, and the other. What happened to working on relationships? What happened to really first figuring out who you are, knowing what you bring to the table so that when you are in a relationship, you can fully say, this is who I am. This is what I bring to the table. And I think if you know you and what you bring to my table, we can sit at the table together. So I love their story. I've always loved Fran. I've always loved her energy, but it is always so refreshing to me when you have women in our community who are vocal, who are strong, who people follow and support and represent this layer of strength. And people tend to fantasize and get this mindset that they are not human and that they don't have emotions and this and that. So the things that Fran allowed us to experience of her life publicly and still come out strong, but yet softer, releasing that ego and allowing herself to be a woman and allowing herself to be in her feminine energy and express and embrace that compassion is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It makes life so much easier when we are um, positioned in a place of alignment with who you truly are. So, thank you all so much for being there and hanging in with me on this particular interview. I hope that you learned something. I hope that the main thing that you take back with you is spend some time, single or not. Make sure you're checking in and figuring out who you are, what your quirks are, what is causing you to not want to be vulnerable because that's important. That's important because who you are is not this small box that other people have put you in, and more importantly, not the box you put yourself in. So allow yourself to be free. Allow yourself to have conversations, hard conversations, so you can truly see how you show up. Have a wonderful Thursday, and I'll see you next Thursday, guys.